The funeral that never happened. The gospel world was shaken to its core when news broke that Jimmy Swaggart, the iconic televangelist, pastor, and gospel musician, had passed away peacefully in his Baton Rouge home. Tributes poured in from across the globe. Fans prepared for a grand farewell, befitting a man who had reshaped the face of Christian television for over 60 years. But just when the world was ready to say goodbye, his funeral was canceled. Last minute, no explanation, no broadcast, no closure. What followed was a storm of speculation, heartbreak, and deep suspicion. Why did the Swaggart family postpone, and possibly cancel entirely, one of the most anticipated religious farewell ceremonies of the 21st century? This report dives deep into the mysterious decision, exploring the emotional chaos, family conflicts, and shocking theories now surrounding Jimmy Swaggart's final farewell. The man, the legend, the loss. Jimmy Lee Swaggart was more than just a preacher. He was a spiritual juggernaut, a living legend whose sermons reached millions every week through the Son Life Broadcasting Network, SBN. Born in 1935 in Faraday, Louisiana, Jimmy rose from poverty and spiritual struggle to international fame. His death in late June 2025, at the age of 90, brought waves of grief. Church bells rang across the nation. Fans gathered outside Family Worship Center with candles. His wife, Frances Swaggart, was seen weeping uncontrollably as she clutched the last Bible he ever read from. The world was prepared for a televised funeral, live-streamed, grand, emotional, musical. Gospel singers from around the world had been invited to perform in his honor. Politicians and Christian leaders were flying in from all corners of the globe. And then, the announcement came. Due to unforeseen family circumstances, the funeral service for Reverend Jimmy Swaggart has been postponed until further notice. The backlash was immediate. The announcement that shocked everyone. The statement was vague, released via a 2-sentence post on SBN's official website and social media channels. There was no apology, no rescheduled date, no further context. Fans and followers were outraged. I took time off work and booked my flight. What is happening? Gospelmom89 Twitter. Is this even real? Postponing a funeral like a concert? David R., Baton Rouge. What is the Swaggart family hiding? Anonymous church staffer, via Reddit Ama. Theories exploded across Facebook groups, Christian forums, and YouTube live streams. Some believed the cancellation was for health reasons. Others thought it had to do with legal disputes over Jimmy's estate. But the truth may be more layered and more disturbing. Frances Swaggart's heartbreak and the breakdown behind closed doors. Sources close to the Swaggart family revealed that Frances Swaggart, Jimmy's wife of over 70 years, was emotionally shattered in the days following his death. She had reportedly collapsed twice in the family home and was rushed to the hospital for stress-related complications. She couldn't handle the idea of watching him be lowered into the ground, said a close family friend. She begged the family to give her more time. Others say she refused to leave his bedside, even after he had passed. While fans saw her as the graceful First Lady of SBN, behind the scenes, Frances was spiraling. Could her fragile emotional state have triggered the family's last-minute decision? Possibly. But there's more. The family feud, Swaggarts at war? Multiple unconfirmed insider reports claim that tensions were brewing among family members, especially between Jimmy's son Donnie Swaggart and extended relatives who felt shut out from major decisions. At the center of the storm, Jimmy's will. Donnie Swaggart, who has long served as the public face of the ministry next to his father, was expected to inherit the reins. But sources suggest that changes were made to Jimmy's will just days before his death. He changed everything, whispered a staff member under condition of anonymity. People who thought they were in were suddenly out. Could this have caused a raging internal conflict that derailed the funeral plans? Some say yes, and they claim lawyers were called just 24 hours before the service was scheduled. It's a bombshell no one saw coming. The mystery of the missing casket. Here's where it gets even weirder. According to reports from local funeral home employees, Jimmy Swaggart's body was never officially delivered to the chapel that was set to host the public funeral viewing. One witness who asked to remain anonymous said, "We prepared everything, the flowers, the setup, the choir, but there was no casket. Nothing came." Rumors began swirling that his body is still at the family estate, possibly in a private mausoleum being built on the property. Some believers find this deeply disrespectful, while others support the family's privacy. But one thing's clear. Nobody knows for sure where Jimmy Swaggart's body is. Theories flood the internet. The vacuum of information created a breeding ground for speculation. Among the most viral theories, private family scandal, something happened behind closed doors, possibly related to Jimmy's finances, secrets, or health records, that made the family hit pause. Frances Swaggart's collapse, her fragile state made it medically impossible to go through with the ceremony. Legal injunction, someone filed a last-minute legal block on the funeral until will disputes are settled. Religious belief shift, some theorize that Jimmy himself requested a quiet, unpublicized burial before passing, going against his lifelong public persona. YouTube exposes and TikTok videos with titles like "What Are They Hiding at Jimmy Swaggart's House?" are now gaining millions of views. Fans in mourning, answers still missing for now, the world waits. The Swaggart family has not issued any follow-up statement, and no new funeral date has been announced. At Family Worship Center, a giant black curtain covers the pulpit. His favorite Bible still rests on it. Thousands of fans still come daily, leaving flowers, handwritten notes, and tears outside the gates. "He was my shepherd. I need closure," said one woman who flew in from Ohio. "It feels like someone pressed pause on my grief. What comes next?" According to insiders, the family is now in a media lockdown. Lawyers are handling all communication, and security has been doubled around SBN's headquarters. Some are calling for a public statement. Others just want to know, will there ever be a funeral? If this delay turns permanent, it may go down as one of the most bizarre and heartbreaking endings in Christian media history. The legacy left behind regardless of funeral plans. One thing remains true: Jimmy Swaggart's impact on the world of faith is eternal. From scandal to salvation, music to ministry, Jimmy's journey was one of public pain and private redemption. Maybe that's why this mysterious cancellation hurts so deeply. People wanted one final moment, one last hallelujah, one final trumpet, and they were denied. Whether there's a funeral or not, Jimmy's legacy doesn't lie in a casket. It lives in every soul he reached. Pastor Marvin Jones, longtime SBN viewer. But still, one haunting question remains. Why did the Swaggarts stop the world from saying goodbye? Only time will tell. To understand Jimmy Swaggart is to hear his music. He wasn't just a preacher, he was a pianist, a singer, a worshiper. His voice, a trembling mix of Southern soul and gospel grit, brought millions to tears. "Jesus Use Me," "I've Never Been This Homesick Before," and "There Is a River" are just a few of the timeless songs that defined his legacy. Unlike others, Jimmy didn't need a choir. His piano and his voice were enough. Even in his final months, as frail as he was, he would sit at the keyboard and sing, "Touching Jesus is all that matters."